All right, should we get started?
Yeah, eventually.
Okay, we've ditched the intro song, so we'll just get going and say, welcome back, everybody, to Somewhere in Time Podcast. SomewhereInTimePodcast.com is where you find us online. Get to all of our episodes there, streaming there. All of our social media links are there.
Like and subscribe.
That's right. You can go to youtube.com/Somewhere in Time Podcast now. No. Okay, let's do some introductions. So I'm Eric. We've got Tim here.
Yes, I am here.
We've got Keith here.
Yes, I am here.
Joe is here.
I'm here and I'm in pain.
Oh no, that's right. You hurt your back.
I stood up from a chair today.
You hurt your back like an old man.
You took a nap.
That's why I'm standing, actually.
This was why it was more insidious. I didn't just stand up and it was like, it was like I stood up and then I went to move and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even really know when.
Yeah.
I sat for like not even a minute in front of my computer and I got back up and then I regretted all the months and years of not taking better care of myself.
Yeah.
Zero stretching, zero exercising. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I know you can commiserate for sure.
Yes.
You've been dealing with it too.
Yeah.
And then you're dealing with maybe you just got over a headache.
It's finally going away. The Imitrex kicked in, so that's helping. All right. And we have a special guest this episode. So we'd like to welcome back to the podcast. We had him on once before for Maiden, but this time we're going to talk about Metallica. So say hello to Fern, everybody.
Hi,
Hello,
Fern.
everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, so I alluded to it, but we are talking about Metallica this episode. So we were in the middle of a bunch of 83 albums, talking about 1983 albums, 30-year anniversaries. Well, we already did kill them all. I'm sorry, 93 albums. My bad. There is no 93 Metallica album unless you're talking about what Live Shit came out in 93, I think.
Yeah, Live Shit.
But we're not talking about that. And we already did kill them all from 83. So we're like, well, let's see what else came out in the threes. So in 2003, there was an album called Saint Anger that came out. And then in 2023, this 6 months ago.
This one.
Yeah. 72 Seasons came out. So we're going to do both this episode. So yes, 72 Seasons and Saint Anger. I would say two pretty polarizing for Saint Anger for sure. 72 Seasons I've seen mixed reviews on, so I think both albums are kind of like not fan favorites, maybe, I would say.
I mean, Saint Anger is the one that 72 Seasons seems pretty safe. I think people are like,
I guess so, yeah.
You know, it's consistent. There's nothing on there that's really offensive, I don't think. But yes, Saint Anger is the one that people really have a hard time with.
I mean, the one thing to admit before we even start anything is this is the first time I've ever listened
yes, that's right.
to either of these albums.
That's not surprising to me at all.
Well, to you, but of course, people listening, would expect that I, might have, listened to Saint Anger at some point in my life. But yes, one way or another. So this is a brand new, fresh, intake as to what I'm going to say.
I know. I can't wait, actually.
I'm very curious about that because so many of us have the environmental context of 2003 and what was going on with Metallica at the time actively to then get the album. So to hear your opinion on it, Keith, is going to be super fascinating. I'm definitely excited.
Yeah.
I think we all are.
Yeah, definitely. But before we get into it, so I want to go back a little bit in history and just for you, Fern, I want to ask a question while you take a bite of your food, and I have horrible timing. But because, this podcast, obviously, you can look around my room, you can tell, and Tim and I are huge Metallica fans. Joe,
look at all the T-shirts that everyone's wearing.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Well, not me, but
my point is, we've talked a lot on this podcast about our love of Metallica, but we haven't really heard your side of things, like your history, where you were introduced to the band, like what kind of pulled you in. Were you introduced by a sibling, or was it just like something you saw on MTV one day? Like, what's the story there?
So, picture it, Staten Island, 1987, right? So I was introduced to rock and metal to a point where I started going out and buying cassettes myself by just passively listening to the radio, right? My gateway into that was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. It was already out for like a little bit. So again, this was like summer of 86. I heard it for the first time. Someone introduced me, but then like into 87, someone gave me a copy of the cassette. I didn't realize it was only side A, but nonetheless, it was mine. And then one night I was hanging out with one of my best buds down the block from my house, and it was a couple of us there, and basically said, "You've got to check this out." So not only was this a listening experience, but also a visual because of the cover art for Somewhere in Time, Seventh Son, Master of Puppets, Kill 'Em All, right?
Yeah.
Pistels. I got introduced to metal by the artwork and the music. So it was in that evening, Battery. In that was like one evening, Battery and Master of Puppets. And then he took out the tape and played, I think, like For Whom the Bell Tolls, then some of the Maiden stuff, then Megadeth, then Anthrax, and then he's got like Rip Magazine, Kerrang, and I'm like, what is going on with my life?
That's too much.
Yeah, I know.
It was
That's
I mean,
overload. Yeah.
Yeah.
I somehow survived the event, and here I am to tell you about it. But for me, it happened to be that Master of Puppets as an album was the first thing the very first song I remember hearing by Metallica was Battery. And then, from there, oddly enough, within about like, I think 72 hours of 48 to 72 hours of that experience, I'd wind up acquiring a couple of these cassettes, either blank or I went to the shop down at the supermarket that they sold cassettes. And I got also the Injustice for All album. And to this day happens to be my number one favorite album. Argue it's a close tie between that and a couple, but that's long story longer. That's actually how I was introduced to Metallica, along with so many other metal bands that I'm still into today.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about a ton on this podcast about the albums that we were introduced to. A lot of times end up being our favorite albums. Like that's just
sure.
There's so much nostalgia there, and just like So
Appetite for Destruction was kind of your gateway, a little bit. Yeah, that was very similar to me. Like when Welcome to the Jungle, I was like, that's the coolest shit I've ever heard, right? And then next year or a little over a year, I heard Metallica's One on the Grammy. Well, I heard it before that one or two times on MTV, but yeah, then I saw them play that on the Grammys. I was like, I mean, I didn't realize it at the time. It was a sentinel moment, but I was like, oh my god, this is what I want. This is what I need.
Why isn't all music that?
Yes. Right. And I think fans of our generation are super lucky to have seen so many of those iconic experiences, like to watch Janet Jackson play Black Cat, but then Metallica play, One in the same awards show. That was such a groundbreaking thing, right? And then not too long later, Enter Sandman is everywhere, and they're breaking down new walls with the things that they're doing with the Black album, right? So I think we got to see a lot of amazing stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
and
so
was it truly Staten Island?
I lived in I born and raised Staten Island until 27, and then I 27 years old. Then I left and I was in Japan for 2 years, and I've been in Virginia since 2006.
That's awesome. Because you probably don't know, but Staten Island has a huge special place in the hearts of me and Eric. Because two of our favorite programs emanate from Staten Island.
Which are?
Impractical Jokers.
Oh, yeah.
And What We Do
in the Shadows.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's funny. In Practical Jokers, I am confident I'd seen those guys in person somewhere throughout my life.
Probably. I mean, they're our age.
Yeah.
We're like the same age, so you may have gone to high school with them.
It's very likely.
That's hilarious. So we've got Fern's history lesson. That's good. So let's fast forward to around like 2002, right? Like everyone had heard Load, Reload. And a lot of people jumped ship at that point. And we start getting rumblings like, well, actually, let's go back a little further because there was a whole Napster thing, right? Like, there's a whole Napster thing there. There's a whole Jason Leaving thing there that happens. Like, Metallica
there was a whole like terrorist attack. Like a lot of fucking shit was going on.
Yes, that's true.
In that time frame.
Well, I mean, Metallica was in like
we were invading I should say invading. We were at war. Like politically, like things as divided as they are now. I think there was a big like with the Gore Bush
Mhm.
election.
Yeah.
There was a lot of turmoil that was starting to brew in our country at that time.
Yeah.
Not to make this a political thing. I'm just saying, like, there was a lot of shit going on back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's important for the context, quite honestly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it was 99 was the Napster stuff, right? And
Yeah.
that kind of put Metallica on the spotlight. And then
That was 2000.
was it 2000? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2000. Yep.
And then Jason quit at the end of 2000, right?
They put him in the spotlight in a negative way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They were
Which
already
not-
they already
not-
had negative. People
Yeah.
were already jumping.
Oh, for
ship.
sure.
That didn't help at all.
No.
Obviously.
no. I mean,
Money good, Napster bad.
Yeah, that whole thing. And
Yeah.
Jason leaves. James goes into rehab. I mean, James goes to rehab. The band almost broke up. I mean, that's how bad it got.
Yeah, and I mean, we could talk about Some Kind of Monster too in there. Like there was
Probably should mention that. Yeah.
they came in just to shoot the making of an album, and it turned into a whole, psychology lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was
So-
supposed to be just like a making of the album,
Yeah.
video kind of thing, and it turned into a whole movie.
Yeah. Bring in a
And
psychologist. What was that dude's name? Towel. or
Phil?
something?
Oh, Phil Towell.
Phil Towel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dave
yeah.
Mustaine.
He was. Yeah, he's kind of a villain in the movie.
He invented.
Well, I was
psychology.
actually I was gonna watch that this morning, but then I looked at the runtime. It's 3 hours. I'm like,
I mean,
time.
there's
So, but
there's
I wanted to
moments
watch
in
it
that are-
again.
there's cringeworthy moments in that documentary.
It's a great
especially.
movie though.
It is.
I
yeah.
love it.
I mean,
I'll watch
yeah.
it over and over again. I love it.
Just
Even
Yeah.
if you don't like Metallica, I think it's fascinating. It would probably
See-
be fascinating.
Yeah,
Have you
for
seen
sure.
that,
Yeah.
Keith? We should ask.
No, I
should
actually
watch it.
was exactly. I was planning on doing just that, and it's available right now on one of the streaming services. I even saw it. And
I think
I'm
it's on
like,
Netflix actually.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
exactly. Because I was going, I'm like, oh, geez, man, I really should do that, but I've got crazy shit going on
Yeah,
in my life
yeah.
personally, so I never got around to it.
At our age, a 3-hour documentary is going to be at least like 4 or 5 sittings, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah, but that,
seeing Phil Towell like passing notes, like I have these lyrics for you, like he wants to be in the band. He's like,
I
we're moving
know.
to San Francisco,
That
and they're
was
like,
so weird.
it might be time to kick this guy out of this whole deal.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was, that came after Saint Anger, right? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, there was all this turmoil within the band. Jason quits. Like, what's this new album gonna sound like? They started recording stuff in the Presidio area, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a whole Presidio sessions thing that was happening, and this was right like the internet wasn't new, but there were still things about the internet that were kind of new, like, and they were just starting to do little things with like watch us record online, so you could actually get little things like little clips here and there of them recording the Presidio stuff, and it sounded amazing. Like all that stuff was like, no, this is gonna be an awesome album.
I remember Lars being like,
Well-
note the double bass, because he kept showing the drums, and he's like, note the double bass. Like there's this whole thing about we're going back to thrash, and he was all
Yeah.
excited about it.
But
And
think
everyone's
about
like,
it.
oh my god!
To add a little perspective, the internet was still dial-up then, right?
Oh yeah.
Pretty-
Well,
yeah,
I
there
mean,
was-
you can.
there was
2001,
Many
2002.
times I was working for an ISP and we were selling DSL.
DSL.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
DSL.
Like it was still like very raw.
It was
Yeah.
still slow, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, most people I think still had were relying on
56.6.
dial-up. Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah,
56.6.
Didn't they double that for a while? That was a thing. And,
So it was 14.4, then 28.8, then 56.6, and then I think DSL
Okay.
rather. I don't know if there was anything after 56.6 between that and DSL, because then you had some folks that actually got a T1 line and
Yeah.
all kinds of crazy. Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah, that was yeah.
with my iOmega Jazz Drive.
Oh yeah.
But it was still like it would
That's right.
take an hour to download a song.
And,
yeah.
and our AOL email accounts.
Yes.
CompuServe, baby, CompuServe, Prodigy,
GeoCities, all that stuff.
GeoCities, Earthlink, yes sir.
Earthlink. Oh yeah, I had an Earthlink account.
And everyone was a web designer. You knew
Oh,
it was
and-
a web designer.
And I used Dogpile as a search engine, which was awesome. I don't know if everybody remembers
Yeah.
Dogpile.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And there was
Lycos.
Napster and
I
LimeWire. and-
ask Jeeves.
I was about to say
Ask
Jeeves,
Jeeves, yeah, and this was all after having survived the Y2K crisis.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
right.
that was
Imagine
that.
that.
That was a brutal nothing.
Yes.
It's a weird
exactly.
time.
It was a weird
Yeah.
time, yes. Yes.
And musically, it was a weird time because nu metal was kind of the thing at this time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was very
And
much. Backstreet Boys.
I don't know.
The
Yeah.
boy bands.
Well, it's funny because
Ricky Martin, those guys.
Britney Spears.
Ricky Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Britney
Yeah,
Spears. Mr. Fister.
Well, it's funny because I don't know if this is going to be like, Eric, if you have like, you said you didn't take any notes. So I don't know if you have any questions or topics or anything, but I think the fact that nu metal was a thing, I think that directly played in like the direction for Saint Anger, like
Absolutely.
directly.
Oh,
Absolutely.
for sure. I mean, look at
100%.
the Summer Sanitarium tour they went on in
Yeah,
around
yeah.
2003. I mean, every band
Yeah.
they took out with them was basically a nu metal band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Linkin
this was,
Park, Deftones, Kid Rock.
I saw that actually tour.
Yeah, I almost wore my
Yeah.
2003 Summer Sanitarium shirt for this episode.
Yeah,
Nice,
I could have.
nice.
Should have.
Yeah,
Nice.
so.
Well, this was like one of the first times where Metallica they were taking influence from bands younger than them versus
that's true.
bands older than them, which was kind of a weird thing because you're so used
For
to them being
sure.
like, well, these is they're taking new wave of British heavy metal songs and blending them with like punk and making this whole thrash thing, and it's all new and exciting. And now they're taking influence from like System of a Down and Slipknot a little bit, and it's like
Mhm.
it's a little jarring. It's like you guys are supposed to be the trailblazers, and you're taking
Yeah.
You're tuning your guitars
You
to
know,
see what the fuck is going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Well, I mean, what about that Slayer album? What the hell when did that come out?
oh, Diabolus and Musica.
Yeah,
That's what I was. Yeah.
98.
I've never
so-
heard that album.
Okay,
Really?
Metallica.
Yeah.
I mean, Metallica
I've heard
wasn't
it's
the
not
first.
good. And I was like,
Yeah,
no.
but Metallica wasn't the only one that was being affected by the popularity that was going
Oh,
on.
no,
So it's not.
definitely not.
It's not as though
Not at
like
all.
we could point the finger at them and
No, but
and
they
I'm
were
the one
always the
saying
ones
that
were-
too.
They were the ones that were always, at the forefront of innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
in the
Well,
80s.
I think that there's something to be said for where they were, though, because I mean, where James was mentally, where the band was mentally, with the whole Jason thing, things that come to a head, a
Yeah.
lot of things that they didn't really do, and then rising from the ashes with Saint Anger. I mean, it's almost like. So I get the Phil thing where he was handing them lyrics, and I thought, like, yeah, that's a bridge too far, but.
Yeah.
But the writing process was very much like a lot of them sitting in the room together, and it wasn't just James
Right.
and Lars,
That was the
right?
whole point, yeah.
Right. So that said, it's like they're rising from the ashes, and they're kind of like looking to the left and right of them, realizing that it's okay to be in a community of folks, right, and in their family to come up from where they were, probably the darkest place in their history as a band.
Oh, for
And
sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the album, as a result, is a statement to that, and the way that the album was created with lyrics that were not just James's genius, but genius from around the room. And the riffs, if you take them apart and you listen to some of them in the key of E, you'll hear Metallica.
Mhm.
Like it's not, you're not, and I think every album has shades of things dating back to like the Ride the Lightning era, right? But I think that part of their coming out was that assimilation of the drop C thing or the drop C sharp thing wherever they were. It was almost like, I wonder if that was them tiptoeing into what they thought was a safe place at the time,
Mhm.
so that they can come back out and be a little bit stronger. I mean, that's all me theorizing.
Yeah.
It would be a fun project to re-record the songs
in
in a
E?
normal
In
key
E.
or a normal tuning rather. Yeah.
Or even E flat.
E flat or E, but yeah.
And put guitar solos in it.
Yeah, there's that.
And put guitar solos in it.
And
That was a
actually
whole conversation.
have a real bass guitar in it. That would be nice.
And a different snare
Well,
sound.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
So let's do some band introductions and stuff. So this is an interesting thing because on Saint Anger, obviously, there was no Jason Newsted. So
No.
you've got James Hetfield on vocals and guitar, Lars Ulrich on drums, Kirk Hammett on guitar, and Bob Rock on bass guitar.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
That happened.
It's a
that
thing.
happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And I wouldn't I know we have 3 bass players on here, so I'm guessing that the bass playing on this album is not very impressive.
Well, it's hard to say because the tone is so
buried.
horrendous.
Yeah.
I wish they had given him the Newstead Injustice for All treatment. Because it sounds like the gain is completely like maxed on this album is just
there are a couple
mud.
moments where it is just bass on this
Yeah.
album.
but it's
Well,
still
yeah.
it's just it sounds like mud, and I can't believe that this guy is a producer of records that's
Well, but the
Part
point
of
of the
it's
album was
just-
to make it sound like a garage album,
Yeah,
like
I don't
raw
think
and
he-
just, I think that the production wise, there was like, let's do minimal
I don't
effort
know.
here.
whoever decided that was the tone to go with. Fuck off. Just
I
turn it
think
down.
the only thing that sounds
turn it down all the way because you can't really even tell that it's bass until like it just sounds like an extra frequency of noise in the speakers.
Well,
it's not
I
even,
can't help but wonder.
It's not even an instrument at that point. It's almost electric sounding, like just distorted. It's not distorted, but it's
A
just
little bit.
mud.
I wonder if part of that though is the challenge is that they are dropped, so you're getting into bass territory. So there might be a lot of fighting there that they didn't with the frequencies that they maybe
I'm
had
sure
to kind of
there
like
is.
dance around,
But
Yeah.
there,
And I think-
but there's bands that could they overcame that
Oh,
tune
sure.
downness with, and I'm
Sure.
and plus I'm pretty sure he's using a pick,
Of course.
Oh, I'm sure.
for sure.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's no brightness at all. It's just mud coming through.
Yeah.
It I think is the worst bass guitar sound I've ever heard on an album.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but the sound isn't awesome, but the playing is good.
I can't.
But
It's,
'cause
it's so
it's
hard to make
tight,
it
but
out though.
So it would stand out to me if it was bad. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
I mean, and I think that's the nature of bass, and that's just the way I hear it.
There's some
I
cool
think that-
moments, like
Yeah,
Shoot
I
Me
think so.
Again.
Oh, yeah.
The part of Shoot Me Again where it just stops and it's like,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, that's great. So,
Oh, for sure. And I think that part of the whole Saint Anger experience, to include whatever might be going on with the bass, is
That's what they should have named the album.
maybe-
Actually, is the same experience.
Maybe part of that was maybe there was an element of something to prove, not just Rising from the Ashes, but this isn't load and reload. Stand the fuck by. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Maybe
Maybe.
because even in I think it was, if it wasn't some kind of monster, it was some making of or something where even Bob was like, "Fuck balance,
Mm.
go balls to the wall, just go full bore."
Do
Yeah.
that on an
So,
EP though. Like, fuck.
Yeah, but this is Saint Anger.
Don't do that on
Like-
an album. I
But
mean,
what on the album does
and-
sound really good. The bass
Well,
drum sounds
well,
good.
that-
The guitars sound good.
that's what I was about to say. Like the thing that I guess kind of saves the bass guitar tone or sound is that there's so many other things that sound wrong on the album.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
But
a big,
but purposely.
crazy mess. So yeah, like I wouldn't expect anything to sound particularly good. So
Yeah.
there are some
that
things
was-
to do. I think the guitar tone is good. I think the bass drum sounds good. And I think the toms sound good.
But as a band like Metallica, even at that point when they were in a precarious situation, didn't know if they were going to be together anymore. Like, you're putting out a fucking album, and Metallica doesn't put out albums every 2 or 3 years.
No.
Like it's an event when they do it.
Yeah.
And to put
like
No,
out
it's-
something
longer
that sounds-
longer gaps each album.
Yeah, and
I
put
mean,
out something
so-
that sounds is sonically so I don't know,
Bad.
Just bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
not anything that you yes.
Well,
okay,
especially
bad.
coming
Bad
after
is the easiest
yeah.
way to say
I mean,
it.
and the last album before this was Reload, which is
Yeah.
one of their
It
best.
sounded
sounding albums.
fantastic.
The
Yeah, it's-
sound is amazing on that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
to
it's
go to
like-
this
yeah.
is it's kind of it kind of hurts my feelings a little.
Yeah.
in Richard.
I think
it's
that-
like they took the toms and just like, and he was like, let's loosen them all the way up, and then the snare, let's tighten it as far as we can get.
And turn it off.
We'll turn it off. Yeah.
Well, it's so
Yeah, it's
tight
right
that
there.
it doesn't even fucking rattle. Like it's
Well, it's some parts where you can hear it rattling. Actually,
what-
I think my concern at the time, because I remember when it came out, my concern is that, look, this is a cool out. There's a couple of songs that actually, some of my favorite Metallica songs, like 2 of my favorite Metallica songs of the list of maybe 20, are actually on Saint Anger. But the problem I had overall as a fan was, wow, this sounds like it might be an attempt to blend in with what else is already going on instead of just being Metallica.
Which is not their norm. Like they've always
Right,
been.
right.
Like their
Right.
kind of
Hmm.
big claim to fame was
Yeah.
we do our own thing and we don't follow
Yeah.
we don't follow
But
the
what,
trends.
like Like,
Yeah.
like who are you comparing them to? Like, what are there other
Like System of a
bands?
Down.
But
just
those-
just the new
that was
metal.
but that was like Rick Rubin recording them, and
Yeah.
Terry Date was doing Limp Bizkit, so their albums sounded really good. You know,
Yeah,
like-
there's more to it than just trying to fit in. I think there's a
There's-
mental
I think-
aspect. There's a psychological aspect to this where they're just
Very much
trying
so.
to be like, we're kind of broken, and this is the sound of us.
That's the
Being
lyrics and
broken.
vocals.
Coming
Like the
back in.
the lyrics
Yep.
and the vocals
Yeah.
are the broken pieces, and the musical part of it is more like the new metal and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But it's still,
But I
like you
think
said,
it's-
Fern, it's still Metallica.
Well,
like
I
there's
like
still
that you
Metallica
said it.
riffs in there.
It does
You know?
sound broken, and that's a good way
Yeah.
to put it. And that kind of, I kind of like that actually.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
glad you said that.
it is from like a psychological.
It gives me a little
Point
bit
of
of
view, and
resolution
that's-
in all this, like psychologically, emotionally broken.
It's emotionally broken. It's supposed to sound broken. It's supposed to sound.
Well, I think-
it's artistically, it's a bad move.
Do you think
But-
it was? Do you think it was supposed to, or they just were?
No, it
broken,
was supposed
and that's
to.
What,
No,
I
that's
think it
what-
was supposed to. I think that they
It's
started at
supposed
Presidio and they were recording one album, and then James would rehab, and the band started falling apart, and they went in and wrote on a completely different album that was a statement of this band falling apart, and this is what it sounds like.
And there
That's
were
where
a
the-
lot more people involved than just the two of them. You know, again, it was Kirk had a hand in a lot of the writing. You know, with the lyrics and just other folks were, invited in. So to
I mean,
speak.
Lars helped write
Yeah.
some of the lyrics, for God's sakes. Everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, Shoot Me Again
Yeah.
was a lot of Lars and his response to Napster. So,
yeah.
Well, that kind of makes it poignant in a way. Like
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, like I think if you go into
like
it
a
with that
fractured-
mindset,
fractured
Yeah.
bands. Just
it's a broken band.
this is them bleeding out.
listen to his vocals at the end of All Within My Hands, and just
Oh,
that
my
is like
goodness.
the emotion coming from him is like, it's almost like it kind of reminds me of, talking new metal, the Korn song Daddy, when he's like screaming
Yeah.
at the end of that song, just like fuck you, like just
Oh, there's voice cracks all over the place.
yeah, he's just
Yeah,
emotionally
And I
wrecked.
appreciate that.
And
I
so-
like that aspect of it. It's raw.
Yeah. So
It's just if you're spending millions of dollars on an album, it shouldn't really sound.
But then how come, then
But-
how come the guitar sound is still good? Like,
I mean, it's
That's
Hetfield.
always,
Because it's
that's,
James
that's
Hetfield.
always going to be.
I don't-
Yeah, Hetfield is always going to be.
That's the one thing I think.
Damn
Like
it.
you mentioned, "Shoot Me
Yeah.
Again." I think that like things are just a little more trebly on that track, and I just that
Yeah, none of the songs
That
have
one-
the same particular
yeah.
production
exactly
specifically.
right.
Yeah. I mean,
I
kind
love
of,
that
but
song,
there's
though.
all these weird things happening. Sometimes the snare is turned back on. Sometimes the guitar tone changes. Sometimes the bass drum changes. It's
But
weird.
why do the drums suck? Like the entire. I mean,
performance-wise, it's pretty damn good. It's
Sure,
one of the
but
better
it
performances.
sounds
But
like
the
crap.
sound. Yeah,
like
I don't know
quibbles
what he
aren't
was
the
thinking there.
performance. Yeah, it's,
That
Yeah.
may have just been that feeble attempt to get that sort of raw garage sound, back to basics kind of sound.
well,
right?
didn't he say? I mean, I thought he said he liked the Tool sound, and he liked the fact that Danny Carey would go like no snare at all, and he's like that
Yeah.
open hollow tung 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 sound. He wanted
Borderline
to replicate that.
timbale kind of thing. Yeah.
So
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if that was part of it, or and if it was more the raw thing that he was just going for. I don't know,
I think
but
just the raw thing. It's just one of those things where it's almost like George Lucas doing Jar Jar. Like they're so powerful at this point, no one's there to tell them no.
yeah,
They're Metallica. You're not going to tell them no.
Lars
And they're
saying
like,
he wants
dude.
to emulate Danny Carey, though, is like me saying I want to be Victor Wooten on an album.
yeah.
I don't mean performance wise. I mean like just the sound of a snare. Like Lars will
Yeah.
never be Danny Carey. We can admit that. But yeah. So and then I think the first song we all heard from this album was Saint Anger, right? That was the
Yes.
first single.
I thought it was frantic.
I think
It was frantic because they did it at the
Oh, that's
Christmas
what I
Icon.
was-
The
Saint
icon.
Anger.
thing.
The icon thing, yeah, frantic.
Yeah.
That's
And
right. Frantic was
that-
the first one.
That was good.
And it was
that's
live,
really-
so we didn't hear
That's
the-
one of my.
Wait, well, how'd you hear that?
Remember the MTV
Remember
icon
the
thing?
MTV? It was
No.
pretty terrible.
And
No,
they
I don't.
introduced and they
The show, I mean, not
introduced
the
Rob.
performance.
First thing I
Yeah,
heard was definitely Saint Anger when the video came.
No,
out.
they did the MTV icon, and they had like Avril
I don't
Lavigne
even know
doing
what you're talking
Fuel, and they had Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg did Samba True.
and Korn
And
did
Korn did
one.
one.
Biscuit did
Mhm.
Sanitarium,
Nope.
and then
don't
at the end,
remember.
Metallica comes out and they play some stuff, and then they said, we're icons, but we sure ain't done yet, or we sure ain't dead yet, or whatever. And they started playing Frantic,
Yeah, that's right.
and it was like
And-
holy, and that was brand new. You're like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome because it was.
And I think they rolled the credits during St. Anger.
They did.
And I think actually they introduced Rob at that thing to the world, if I remember
I think that's
correctly.
right. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
yeah, that was his first his first.
Yeah.
Because they were like your first foray into to Metallica land is MTV Icon.
Could you imagine that? Yeah.
Not the best.
Can you imagine when MTV actually played music?
I know that's another thing. That will never happen again. A show like that with a rock.
I know
band?
that. Yeah, and I know that
No
that
fucking
blew
way.
me away because I was a fan of Rob since like Suicidal and Infectious
Oh, yeah.
Groove.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So to know that he was going to Metallica was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a Jason guy, right? So obviously,
Yeah.
but I love and I love Cliff obviously, but Jason was kind of like how I cut my teeth. But to see Rob come into the band, I was super excited about that.
Yeah,
It
for
was
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
when
got
I found
their guy.
when I found that out too, I was like, well, of course.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was with all of the metal bands back then. He easily, I mean, let's face it, he wasn't Les Claypool, but he is easily one of the best in the metal.
The thing about Rob is, I think he could do a lot of Les Claypool, but he knows when not to. And I don't think Les Claypool could ever hold back.
No.
He would be finger tapping all over
probably
the
shouldn't
place.
hold back.
Yeah,
like all
That's why he's
all
in
19
Primus.
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
not Metallica.
It would. Yeah, that's true.
Well, the reason where I got a lot, I loved Robert Trujillo before he was in Metallica too. Suicidal, but where I gained a huge, and I think I've said this before in the podcast, but where I gained a huge amount of respect for him is he played on a Jerry Cantrell album with Mike
Oh
Borden.
yes, that's right.
And
Boggy Depot was it?
I don't know if it's the first or was it the first or second album? I can't remember. But
It might be both,
regardless,
actually. But yeah, it doesn't
regardless, you would never know it's Rob Trujillo.
Yeah.
He's just playing exactly what that album needs. And Mike Borden too, for his credit, he's not beating the shit out of the drums like he does in Faith No More. He's they're both like playing perfectly what the album needs, and I respect that hugely. Like they're not like I love Flea, but if you put him on that album, you'll be like, oh, I think that's Flea. You know what I mean? Like
I have a profound appreciation for musicians who play the song and not the instrument.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot in the cover band scene. You see a lot of musicians that'll just kind of get bored of what they're playing, so they overplay, and that's a huge pet. It's a huge pet peeve of mine.
That's me.
Oh, dude.
That's me.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Well,
I try not to. We play My Hero.
When you throw in a Vic Wooten solo,
That's not true.
Hey, there it is.
We covered My Hero a couple weeks ago, and I played
Sweet.
as perfect to the album as I could. Like,
if it's Janis Joplin, you might change it around. But
well, because
otherwise-
the original bass player, I don't think did a great job. I actually tone it down when we do that song.
Okay.
I think there's too much going on.
Anyway, it would have been interesting to hear what Rob Trujillo did on Saint Anger, like because
But I thought it was recorded before. Oh, you mean if
he had actually recorded the
yes.
bass on this album, like if he come in before they did all the writing and he had actually had a hand in some of the bass lines, but it is what it is. It's like saying what would Cliff have done on the Black Album? Or Justice,
right?
But anyway, so we heard Frantic and then we heard Saint Anger. Some of us heard it the other way around, but
Saint Anger was the first actual single.
Right.
Because it was played on the radio. I remember they debuted it on the radio.
I think I saw the video first. They're still playing videos, yeah.
It's San Quentin, right?
Yeah. It was that's a really cool video.
It is, yeah.
Cool video. But that was our first introduction to that snare sound.
Yeah.
We're all like, what is going on here? I hope they don't do that on the entire album.
The double bass was back in a big way.
Yeah, that fast, like, that when it gets really fast.
Are we getting ahead of ourselves into the track?
We are a little bit, yeah. Because we got to talk about the album cover and.
Yeah, let's talk about that the album cover.
Is this the first album cover? Actually, it depends on what format you're looking at, but
there's no Metallica logo,
right? But there, Well, I was just looking on iTunes when I was listening on iTunes. It does actually have the logo, so I don't know if there were different versions of it.
I don't think so because this is the CD.
Physical copies. I don't think had the parental advisory, and that's pretty much it.
The vinyl vinyl has a sticker on it.
The thing I noticed was that it's got that fake ass Metallica logo.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the new metal Metallica logo. Yeah, I almost wore that shirt tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were still
Let's-
in alternate logo phase in this point. They were not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
I think they came back for Death Magnetic
Yep.
with the old.
That was the first time they came
they
back.
did.
with
They
it,
just
so.
they changed the A a little bit, but other than that, it was the same.
Did they really? I didn't notice it.
Yeah, the A is like this A is squared off. The other A is angled like this.
Oh, the
the
A
way-
in the middle. Okay.
The A in
Thought
the
you
middle. Yeah.
Okay.
No, not this A. The A in the middle. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Yeah, the A in the middle on the new one is like more of a.
Oh, is it? I
Pyramid.
never noticed that.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Eric's got the alt version logo on his
I
shirt.
have the.
Well, this is
Yeah.
the time.
That's one of the alt versions because there's another one that was like I should have worn the shirt, but it's like all like kind
It's
of
like
looks.
more straight. I think it's more straight.
This is just a
on the
club
side.
shirt. I don't
Yeah.
even know if this
That's a
logo was
club
ever really
shirt,
a
yeah.
thing,
Well,
quite
if I have
frankly.
the-
But
Man, we are so nerdy.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on.
You see that A? See how the A is like.
Yeah.
yeah,
right.
look
Okay.
at that.
That
Yeah.
looks
Look
better.
at that.
They should
It's
have done
cleaner.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's clean.
Wow.
It's
I
cleaner.
blame computers and AI.
now who's the real nerd?
I like this one better only because it's it's the classic.
And it's flush with the L. I like that it's flush with the
Yeah,
L.
it's
That,
flush with
that
the
is
L.
good, but the L's not really center. If you're like,
Yeah.
It's not.
I gotta say, when we started recording this podcast, I did not think that this was going to be one of the topics.
Well, not everyone knows. It's
I'm gonna have to blame Mustaine.
Yeah. He invented the.
He
letter
created
A.
the A.
well, he
He invented the
created
letter A.
he created font.
Oh, right.
He invented
forgot.
that.
He realized papyrus was something you could write on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he gave it to the ancient Egyptians, and then created Metallica.
There you go.
And wrote all their music.
Well, of course.
Still does.
Goes without saying.
So I guess the Big Bang was him plugging into the amp. Got it.
That's right. It was like the beginning of Back to the Future. Whoa.
Well, so okay,
Yeah.
we got off topic. The album cover.
What?
Yeah,
We got a-
it's the first album cover designed by Pusshead, right?
Yeah. Plus, I did.
oh no,
the
shit,
cover.
that's him. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
exactly. That's him. And it's like, why doesn't it look?
That
as
seems like the
cool
least
as-
Where's
Pusshead
the
thing I've
skull?
ever seen in
Yeah.
my life.
That's what's
Yeah.
weird is like the fist thingy is not as good as the skull thingy. Like if you open up the CD,
Oh, I like the some kind of monster thing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that
that's
thing is
cooler.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is better too. The little
Yeah, I
skull
love that.
thingy. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I like the other thingy better. But
yeah,
that's
this is
very
cool
cool.
too. But yeah.
Yeah,
that should
everything's better than the fist
because there was actually a great picture that got cut off for that.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like strapped down or something.
I don't
Oh,
know.
this one. Yeah, there is a
No, the other
there you
one.
go.
The-
This one,
well,
he's
the other
more-
picture. The other picture you showed is there's more to that too.
Is there? Oh, let me see if the vinyl has
Well,
it.
I don't think
Sorry.
Pusshead just drew like teeth up to the top of
The back has this on the. Sorry, it's very
like something
shiny.
like that would have been.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that's better. Than,
Oh yeah, so he's
Yeah.
got the fist is like a necklace. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
It's
the album
the-
cover is reversed on these. On that one.
Medallion
yeah,
noose.
It really is. Yeah, that's right.
It's a medallion noose.
It's complete with plaque and gingivitis.
yeah.
It's just great Pusshead.
So that's yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like,
yeah, that's
let's-
way better.
Like, let's focus in on the smallest part of this drawing. That's important.
And that isn't as cool as all the other parts.
But hey, they were
Yeah.
a fractured band.
You can't tell Metallica no.
And
That's
like
right.
that's all cooler stuff too. Like on the inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of really cool artwork. Yeah.
But they picked the worst.
Probably on purpose.
Uh, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright.
it's still kind of a cool album cover.
there are worse. Yeah.
But
mean,
there are worse album covers.
if you are a band with a iconic logo, you need to put it on the album cover.
It's a good thought.
It wasn't that iconic at the time though.
Wait, no, the Metallica. No, I'm talking about the Metallica logo.
Oh, you mean the old
That's
school?
what I mean. That's
Well, no,
Well, they
you
weren't-
still,
They
you still
were
need
still
to.
iconic.
Iron Maiden still put Iron Maiden on their album covers.
Yeah.
Like, You have to.
But at that time, it was the changed album, the changed logo, right?
Yeah.
It was that sort of gritty, weird looking one.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
still had the one from Reload and Load and all that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this was the new logo.
No. I'm talking about the one that,
Wait, what was
this?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What was
That's
the logo
the new-
for Load?
Get it?
Was it still the old
Sorry.
school one?
It looked like what Eric's wearing. It looked
Yeah,
kind
it
of
looks a little
similar
like
to that,
that.
but like a
Yeah.
little
Oh,
straightened
yeah.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Straight and
I forgot.
here's the
I
logo.
should just go.
That's
Yeah,
half.
is that a little more straightened off?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's half.
But they cut their hair and they cut off those barbs. That's basically what happened.
They shaved the top of that off too. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're like, let's
Yeah.
cut this also.
Yeah. So I
I mean, the
think that-
Metallica logo that's one of the best logos ever. I don't know why you would ever
It's-
fuck
I
with
know.
that.
Why would you rebrand when you actually have? I mean, how many times did we replicate
logo? I
that?
still do it all the time.
Or yes, exactly.
collectively probably 10,000 times.
Yes.
It's
It's
the only
easy to
thing I can
draw.
actually draw.
It's impactful. It looks
I don't draw
scary.
shit.
It's got
I can
sharp-
draw that logo though.
And why the
Yeah.
A is always going sideways by the end of the fucking thing?
I don't know. It's
never-
always like goes in like.
Why is it
straight.
pointing up?
Run
What
out
did
of
I
room.
do?
Yeah.
I must have fallen asleep. Because you did it in school when you were supposed to be taking
Yeah,
notes.
yeah.
You're like
So-
Iron Maiden, Metallica,
Yeah.
Iron Maiden.
Anthrax.
Oh, the Anthrax
That's
one
right.
was good too. Yeah.
I mean, I did suicidal tendencies. I did as many of them as I could.
The
I
ST was
I
fun
think
as
I
well.
attempted Sepultura one time, and it was just like, ain't gonna work.
No,
No.
that's too hard.
I could only do the Beneath the Remains version of the Sepultura logo.
Yeah,
It's like
That was pretty
I'm sure I tried to do Death a few times, and I was like,
no.
Oh yeah, that one was a little.
You
More
spider
draw-
Draw a
webs and shit in
spider
there.
web. That's ridiculous.
That's
do
like
a
that's
spider
an art
web.
project.
Yeah, not doing that.
I never
So-
took art.
I want to see if you guys agree with this. I think the Saint Anger was the first album where they needed to start cutting stuff out a little bit. Like
Yes.
Yes.
they were going too long
Oh
with
my
their
God,
riffs.
yeah.
Like
Yes.
you should have done that
Yes.
twice
Well,
instead of 4 times. You didn't need to do
this
that
was-
riff 8 times. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they
Somebody
continue that
showed-
trend.
Lars discovered Pro Tools and discovered copy paste,
Yeah.
and problems occurred.
Odyssey.
Well, because some of these songs, like I love "Shoot Me Again," but it's 7 minutes long. It doesn't need to be 7 minutes long.
No.
Like "Invisible Kid" is
Invisible
8.5
Kid.
minutes
Invisible
long.
Kid. Invisible Kid is such a brilliant tune, and it could be half the length.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
But that might be my favorite song on the album. I just jammed to it hard, but it goes on again
I
and
know,
again and
I know,
again.
I know.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Rick Rubin would come in instead of Bob Rock, who seemed kind of to be at a sycophant to some degree at this point, wanting to be in the band. Like if Rick Rubin could have been like, no, it's too long. You need to
He
tune up.
probably would. Yeah.
Maybe.
I think
Well,
maybe. It's hard to say
know what I
though.
mean.
Maybe, but then look at some of the lengths of the songs in Death Magnetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right?
none of those.
But
I don't.
the-
I never get the feeling when I listen to that album that like, oh my god, come on.
Oh, you know why? Because
Yeah.
there's length, but there's a little bit more variety. So I can
There is.
see that. Yeah.
Well, the
yeah.
songs
Here,
flow
it just-
too.
And they're
Yeah.
not tuned to negative Satan. Like they're just.
Well, I've never listened to that album, so I have absolutely nothing to say.
Well, you will.
Death Magnetic. I think there's a weird fun fact about Death Magnetic. I think Death Magnetic was actually there's something called the loudness war
Yeah.
in terms of right. I think Death Magnetic actually set the record and pretty much killed the loudness war. No album has ever
What do you
been
mean?
as loud
Oh,
in terms of how
Compression.
loud it is.
The compression
Yeah,
is
and
way
how-
overboard. Yeah.
It was not produced well.
And,
that- and
right,
that
It wasn't
regard.
mastered well.
Mastered. That's
Right.
what it's supposed
Yeah.
to
the
be.
mastering,
Yeah.
the mastering, and I think that it was like the loudest song, the loudest album ever made.
Which is why on my iTunes I always go to the Guitar Hero version.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, that's
Have you
the-
heard that,
like
Fern?
So yes,
good.
because I played it and I have it, but not consciously to listen to it.
You can
I downloaded it.
download it and
Yeah,
throw it on your phone. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I did too.
Yeah,
and
nice.
it's like,
It's better.
oh, okay,
Much
it
better.
doesn't pop my speakers. That's nice
Yeah.
of you
Yeah.
to not destroy my equipment.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the length thing was really that was probably really my only actual complaint about saying anger if I had to have a complaint, because I
Well, they
didn't
were-
mind the songwriting.
No, and they were coming
production-wise,
from
or
they were
nothing
coming from
mixing-wise?
they were coming from the complete opposite with
Yeah.
starting with Black Album and Load and Reload. All their they were purposely making their songs shorter.
Yeah.
So they went the complete opposite direction. Now they're like
They had some
we're-
pretty long songs on Load and Reload.
Well, that's true. I mean, yeah, but for the
Fixer's
most part,
pretty long.
Fixer is and Bleeding
Where
Me
the
is pretty
Wild
long,
Things
but
Are
Bleeding Me is it's
and
classic.
what's the last song on Reload?
Fixer.
It's Fixer.
Outlaw
on
Torn.
Load.
Oh, well,
Outlaw
Torn.
Torn, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
true.
it's like they definitely had long and third song on Load. What's that?
House the Jack Belt?
That's pretty
Yeah.
long too, right?
That's
pretty long, yeah.
that's a genius tune.
I love that
That's
No, no,
song.
a-
I don't. I'm not saying they should have cut it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
they weren't. They went. They basically went one album where they were like,
Sure.
let's stop.
Yeah, but I think it's
It's
more the just repeating the same riff. With those other songs, it's
Well,
That's the issue I take.
that
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's probably
exactly.
where a lot of the guitar solos would have gone. There's these sections where it's
Yeah,
just
that's true.
instrumental, and you're like, you're just playing this riff, which is fine, but there's okay,
well,
Yeah,
Kirk
did
would
you
add
all-
guitar solos live, like
Right.
they did,
Yeah.
Did you all hear Kirk's stance on that in the room? I feel like most of you may have already. but
Yeah.
If
I don't
not,
remember. What?
yeah.
he stood up for
Well,
himself.
yeah, basically, because I think when they were recording and they were coming up with it, Kirk was kind of on the side of let's add guitar solos, and I don't remember if it was Lars or someone else saying, well, let's not take guitar and put guitar solos, and Kirk was saying, you might think that guitar solos are dated, but not putting a guitar solo dates a song to now,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
Which is
that's-
a really
dead on.
brilliant
that
point.
is.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you rarely see Kirk stand up for himself, but if you watch Some Kind of Monster, you see him like straight up go, "This is bullshit." Like,
Yeah.
and you never see Kirk do that. So
No, you don't.
it's pretty impressive that Kirk was like, "No," and exactly what you said, Fern. It's dating us to now, which is it's actually a brilliant point.
Yeah.
So
See Machine Head's album where they braided their hair.
exactly, the burning red.
Supercharger. I think it was
Oh.
Supercharger was the worst offender of
Oh, okay.
kind of going into new metal.
Yeah.
Burning Red wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Okay, so let's fast forward 20 years.
Yeah,
God
exactly.
damn it. 20 fucking years.
I know.
That's crazy.
To now.
Now.
Somewhere in time is now.
The other thing that we can point out here too is like that Saint Anger was the first album that was written with James sober, like completely sober, right?
Yeah.
I mean, starting it and then it evolved into that. But so that's 20 years of sober James writing, right? So now we've gotten to a point now where this is the what?
Wait. This is now? Are you talking about now he's sober?
Well, Saint Anger was sober James.
Okay.
Saint
yeah,
Anger.
yeah.
I'm saying
So
he started with that
Saint
album.
Anger
So,
till now, you're talking 20 years of sobriety for James.
Wait.
He has.
Well, he'd gone into
has
rehab.
been-
Well,
yeah.
Are you presuming he's been sober from then to now?
He's fallen off a bit,
He's
but
fallen off a few
he's
times.
tried to stay sober. Let's just say
yeah,
Okay.
he's had an awareness of his issue and he's tried to address it.
Well,
Let's put it that way.
I wouldn't say he's even. I wouldn't hesitate.
well, okay. For
I
the
don't want-
most part, the stuff that's been written in the past 20 years,
since
is
he's
sober
realized or admitted he's had an issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would definitely not agree that he's been sober for 20 years since he. Obviously,
Maybe
he's
sober-
gone back into
well,
rehab.
hey,
since
hey,
then,
yeah.
so-
for the most part.
Yes.
For the most
let's,
part.
Okay.
He's
let's not
trying
go
to-
into
But-
his personal demons.
91.3% he's been.
I'm not trying to pick him apart or say like Megadeth's best shit was when that dude was fucking high and drunk and fucked up.
Oh
Like,
gosh, yeah.
I'm not trying to diss him for that. I'm just saying like there's no fucking way.
I don't know. Well,
So,
when I
20
quit,
years,
when I quit drinking 20 years ago, you know,
Ah. I mean, it's
No.
I don't.
I don't want
I-
to belabor the point. It was just a simple statement saying that for the majority, he's been sober the past 20 years.
That we know of.
Yeah.
The
These
last four albums they've written.
But I would say also that if he had been, this album wouldn't have been as great as it is. Because he's still obviously fighting a lot of demons in his lyrics.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I
not
think-
necessarily
I think
alcohol,
he's-
but you know.
I mean, you could listen to the lyrics. We can segue into 72 Seasons. Listen to the lyrics on 72
Well,
Seasons.
I'm just saying, like, I'm
There's a
pretty
ton of
sure-
it. Darkness Had a Son. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's basically about
Yeah.
fighting away
What was
demons and
what was
temptation.
the movie? What was the movie where he says, "I want my pain. I need my pain"? Was it Star Trek?
I don't know.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
That was
I think it
Spock
was
said it, right? Didn't Spock say
Spot
that?
or was it Picard?
No. It was Data.
I want my pain. I need my pain.
I think it was Data.
Well, I don't know, but
He somehow got human emotions, and he was like,
Oh,
"I don't
well,
want this.
the
I don't want
Borg-
this."
the
I think it was,
Borg-
"I don't want this."
no, but there was some movie that I thought it was on one of your masterpiece tapes.
It was,
Like,
yeah,
it
because
was
that's how I know. I think it was.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Data, but he didn't want it. He's like, "I no longer want these emotions."
Well,
He's like, "I don't know what's happening to me." He's flipping
I need
out.
my pain, and like artists, they need pain. They need some turmoil. Well, the artists that we dig into, like,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
I don't think Katy Perry needs it, but
no,
like
but like Dave Grohl.
shit, like yes, like
Oh my god.
he probably didn't need that much pain, but
No.
I'm not saying he needed it or wanted it, but he got it.
Well,
Produced
so
it
I
at
think
that's the fuel
And I
that,
think that,
creates that lights the fire that creates some of the best art that you're ever
It's
going to
catalyst,
listen to,
yeah.
right?
I think that even James coined the phrase in an interview. If you're feeling bad, write a lyric. If you're feeling good, write a riff.
That's cool.
That's pretty
So
fucking
I mean,
cool.
it's awesome. But to that point, needing pain to kind of draw from that inspiration, right?
Yeah, that's great.
We have
Yeah, so
not played a single song.
yeah.
I know. We're getting there.
Best song I ever wrote was right after like the first love of my life dumped me. So
Yeah.
We're waiting on the tracks. We got to do the.
I got you. Okay,
the mix
I got
thing.
you.
We want to get into like 72 seasons and
Let's do it. Let's
right.
get into the album overall. It's
Yeah.
yellow. It's yellow as fuck.
so who's in the band
Somebody
now?
went to Pittsburgh.
somebody went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the album cover is yeah.
I'm looking at it on my other screen, and it's so yellow.
I mean,
Yeah.
Very yellow.
all right. So did
Oh, it's right here.
Did Lars get the set and then be like, all right, I want yellow on the album, or did they decide to go yellow
Oh, no,
and then he's
the-
like,
the
all right,
set-
I need to get my a yellow drum set now.
The drum set came after the album cover. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's
They could have gone to a
sort of,
Striper concert. Too.
the album was going to be called Lux Eterna. That was one
That's
of the
right.
proposed
Yeah.
titles. So I think what they did was they took that whole really bright, eternal light kind of vibe and went with this very bright, vibrant tone. For
And there's no
the colors.
Metallica on this one either. It's just an M.
That's right. Yep. It's just the
But it's the good M.
it is a good M.
I think Lux Eterna is a better title for the album, but I think 72 Seasons is a better concept. So
I like the concept.
Yeah, I'm good either way. I think I like the bright, fucking weird cradle.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's a good album cover. I like the album cover a lot actually.
It's
It
nothing like any
definitely
other album
represents
covers.
what 72 seasons is.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
18 years of your life. So
Yeah.
And yeah, James was outvoted on the Lux Eterna thing. James wanted to call it
Yeah.
Lux Eterna, and everyone else in the band said no. So
Wow.
that's just another
that's a
example of
tie-in.
him.
Yeah. Well, that's tied into Saint Anger because Saint Anger and all the therapy sessions got them to be more diplomatic with each other.
Yep.
Well,
And here you have them voting on a title for the album. When in the
I
past,
will-
that would have been James
I
would be
will-
like, "No, I'm daddy, and I'm putting my foot down."
but I will say that as because we're not really getting to the sequencing if we're not going if we're going to shuffle the albums basically. But I think Lux Eterna would have been a better opener.
Yes,
Yes,
I think so too.
I think
Yes.
it just kicks ass right away.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a perfect album, and I think 72 Seasons as a title track should have been the second song, and keep
Yeah,
that.
And plus,
whole, that
Lux Eterna is like it's like a mirror of the beginning of their journey.
It's,
Yeah.
I think that would have been a perfect album.
It's kinda hit the
opener.
lights.
It's very kill 'em all.
It's
Yeah.
the lights
Very
part too.
killing
Yeah,
off.
totally
Yeah.
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it should have been the opener.
But whatever. Right.
I mean, you can make your own version of 72
And you can
Seasons
always
if want.
you can always listen to it whatever.
Just
whatever you
resequence it.
want anymore.
Yeah.
There's no
You can,
there's no more records, even though we just looked at the record. But
yeah.
Well, I mean, since we're on the topic of Lux Eterna, that came out of nowhere, right? Like we were,
Mhm.
Yeah.
we knew they were
Yeah.
working
Similar to
on stuff.
Hardwired.
Like it was
Yeah.
the whole COVID happened, and they were like, we're doing stuff over Zoom. Like we're sharing ideas back and forth. I don't think any of us knew they were that far along. I mean, we were waiting
No.
because it had been so fucking long. We're like, God, would you guys put an album out already? But we had no idea, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you yes, there's a new song and new album in like 3 months. We're like, whoa, holy shit.
And right before then, I think they gave us a little something with Black in 2020, that acoustic-ish version or something like that.
That's what kicked.
Yeah.
That's what kicked everything
Yeah.
off. Actually, was them
Yeah.
doing that, because that was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be.
What'd they do?
They put out Blackened 2020, which is an acoustic version of Blackened with the whole band. I mean, James started it off.
James-
Let's do something with this.
Yep.
Yeah.
He sent it to the band. He just wrote it himself. Like he was just fucking around on his acoustic. And he wrote this version of Blackened and he recorded it and he sent it to everyone in the band and said, do something with this.
And that's kind of what kicked this whole Zoom, this whole idea of we can actually do something over Zoom. We can actually write an album.
Yeah.
You know, we can be creative.
Yeah, because
in
James,
this
I mean, if
format.
you don't know, James doesn't live in California. He's in Vail, Colorado.
He's in Colorado. Yeah.
I don't know where he lives.
So he's, he's nowhere near the rest of the guys when they're recording these days. So, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there were some at the end. I'm sure they got together and did some stuff, but
When you're disgustingly rich, the world shrinks. So
Yeah. But the interesting thing
I
here
never
is
thought
like,
about it. I don't even know where Lars lives. He could be in Copenhagen again.
I think
for
he's
all
still
know.
in San Francisco.
I think the rest of them are still in San Francisco. Yeah, maybe not Rob. I don't know where he lives, but
He was originally from L.A., wasn't he?
yeah, he was.
Yeah, he may still
Yes.
be there. I don't know.
But
Well, Kirk's in Hawaii.
yeah, okay, he's in Hawaii. Really, I didn't know that.
He's in Hawaii. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
lives in Hawaii.
Well, the interesting thing with the Zoom thing is like before on both Death Magnetic and Hardwired, we got these making of
Yeah,
behind the scenes things where it was like, a month or two after the album came out, you get these, on YouTube, you see, hey, look at this. That's a 16-minute making of this one song. And it just shows the whole evolution of how the song started. And like, those are super cool to watch. Like, especially, what was the song? Fuck, I'm blanking it on. It's on Death Magnetic, track 6, I think.
Cyanide?
So not Judas Kiss.
No. The
Cyanide
one that's
or,
dropped D.
Yeah.
All Night Long.
Is it
All Nightmare
Long?
Yeah.
That's my favorite tune off that album.
Yeah, where
Oh, yeah, that's the
Second
best song
favorite
on the
tune.
album.
that started
That's the
with
best song of that album.
oh, for sure, it's one of the
And
best songs ever.
and my Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, my
Mm,
phone.
yeah.
All
Cool albums.
night long.
Yeah.
Not all night long. No, but that song started with
Do you
Rob
think we
coming
could do a
in.
mix-up of All Night Long?
A
And
mashup.
All Night
Oh my god!
Oh my God.
No, let's not do
Lionel
that.
Richie and Metallica?
I mean, it might work, but I
I
don't.
love, I
it
love
will
both
work.
of those songs. So
All right.
Nightmare Long.
Oh my God. No.
Okay, let me finish my point here. That song
his headache's
started.
coming back.
It actually is. It was like I got this little tinge right then. I was like, "Motherfucker, let me fucking finish my thought."
You motherfuckers.
It started with Rob playing flamenco guitar. That whole riff, that main riff in that song, started with him coming and going diddle-dun-dun, diddle-dun, like this weird riff on. And James was like, "That's cool as shit." And that's like, so we can't see any of that now with
I know, it's-
72 seasons, which kind of sucks.
You think that? I mean, we're recording in Zoom right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they have that
So-
stuff recorded. They've got to
Why? Pay someone to edit that shit together.
for sure.
Give us a little behind the scenes thing.
Would love
Be
that.
awesome.
Both those
The fu-
albums. One
the
of my
funny-
favorite things about both those albums is watching those behind the scenes. I love watching the making
It's
of.
awesome.
Well,
It's great.
couldn't they put it after?
Yeah, they could do it at any time. They could come out tomorrow.
Well, that's what they
Well, I
did.
remember.
on the
I
other
remember when the tracks started coming out for this album, 72 Seasons. They put out Lexington.
Yeah.
I was like, "This is fucking awesome." And then they put out what? Screaming
Suicide.
Right? And I don't even remember if I think I listened to that, and then they were putting. I think they put out 2 more before the
Yeah.
album came
Yeah.
off. Right?
They did.
One
Dark
dropped
Darkness.
right like
72
before.
seasons and
Darkness Out of Sun was next after that,
Yeah,
and
in the
then
72 seasons.
and I was like, or maybe it was the reverse, whatever.
Might have been reversed.
But I was like, no, like I'm not listening to it anymore because I
Yeah.
want to fucking hear the album. Like,
Yeah, in context.
I'm tired. Like, stop giving
Yeah,
me
the
half
drip
the
feeding
fucking
was
album
weird.
before.
Yeah.
So
Drip feeding was weird. Yeah.
yeah, and because this was this is an important. Like, Iron Maiden doesn't fucking do that. Like, they put out like
No.
one song
But one song
and then
out.
the album. Like,
that's the way it should be. You
stop.
put out one song, which is
Yeah,
the single.
give us a
and-
taste.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I want to. And iTunes Music was like, or Apple Music was like, hey, here's a new track.
Listen to
Here's a new
these
track.
songs. Yeah.
I'm like, fuck off. No, I'm waiting for the fucking album to come out, and I did, and I'm glad I did because I just want to hear it as an album,
Yeah.
like a fucking album's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it helped.
Real
doing it
bands
that way.
Real bands should fucking do that. Like,
I've started to do that with movies and TV shows. I'm avoiding trailers. I feel like they give
I
away
don't-
too much.
I
They
don't
do.
want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't want I don't want. I want to have a preconception of what I'm about to experience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Although Lux Eterna was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Here, let me throw this one out because it's something that I'm just kind of confused by. It seems as though they created videos for every single song on this album.
They did.
Metallica, back in the day when
Did
MTV
they?
used to show music videos, was very adamant about not doing one. Then they did one for one, and all of a sudden they, then on the Black Album they did a ton. Now MTV doesn't even show videos anymore,
No.
and they did videos for every single song on the album.
They've done that in the
Yeah,
last
I
3
think.
albums.
What's up with that?
Yeah. Since Death Magnetic, they've been releasing
Yeah.
pretty
I
much
didn't
almost
even
every
know
song
this.
had a visual.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll go back and watch. I mean, there's a video for we were just talking about it All Nightmare Long. It's like animated.
I
but it's-
know.
Animated, yeah.
I know that one is. Yeah, but
That one's brilliant, but
I
there's
love that.
there's a little bit of a super saturation because for me one of my top Metallica songs is Dream No More, and I had this entire movie
Love
in
that
my
song.
head
it's the fourth
that
of the
song.
of the quadrilogy.
The Cthulhu,
Yeah.
for Cthulhu, right? But what they did was just kind of okay.
Yeah,
It felt just like weird, like it had nothing to do with the context of the song,
right.
which is fine. But I would have preferred to see something a bit more theatrical and maybe something in the Cthulhu universe, in a way,
Yeah.
But
I feel like
but it.
Yeah, well, I think music videos in general suck, and always have, especially like heavy metal videos, like the bands that we love. Like most of their videos are fucking horrible. Like one was so amazing,
Groundbreaking. Yeah.
like that's one of the best
So
music
good.
videos, maybe the best. Maybe
It
the
is.
best
I think it's
music
still the
video
best music
ever.
video ever.
It's the
Period.
best.
Like
I
there's
would
other
ar-
bands. There's like
Which version?
The long
the,
version.
The 13
the real
minute
version.
The jamming version.
No, not the jamming version.
No.
But like God, metal, especially metal, like Testament. Think about Testament videos; they're fucking horrible. Because there's a burning
Watch your
trash
mouth.
can in front of them playing in a street. Like, what does that do for me? Like, fuck off.
Well, so I will say that for as many videos as Metallica has, there are a number of them that I can kind of do without. But some of the best videos they have are the best videos around. I
Yeah.
Yes, when they do it, like, I don't even. I should probably go back and look at When It Sleeps, but
Until it sleeps.
That's-
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
Until
a-
It Sleeps. Yeah,
that
Yeah.
But that's a fucking weird video.
It is weird.
it is.
Unforgiven was weird.
Yeah,
Unforgiven was
that was
crazy.
not
The
Maher.
12-minute version is awesome. I thought it was awesome.
That was a Matt Mahurin thing, right?
Yeah, it's not Maher.
I don't know if I was already sick of him by then. I don't know. I've just never been.
Yeah.
I loved it when we would go watch Headbangers Ball and a band we'd like would do a video. But if you break down the video itself, I was usually like, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good point about the newer albums and them being because I can't go back and like I could tell you what the Lux Eterna and the Screaming Suicide videos look like.
Yeah.
Because I think they look very similar. It's just them in a room jamming and
I don't-
you know.
Yeah.
But
I
I
haven't even
couldn't tell
watched
you
all
what
the
like
ones
if
for-
Darkness Had a Sun. I don't know what that video looks
I have
like.
no
don't
idea.
know.
The biggest one, like as stated, I have not listened to either of these. So, I go to YouTube, which, God damn it, YouTube needs to, they're trying to push their whole, get YouTube Deluxe or whatever, where you have to pay
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
a service.
Oh,
Holy
you should
shit.
pay that.
Oh my God, it is like every 30 seconds there's a goddamn commercial. It's really painful these days.
You
So-
should pay them to not
Okay.
get commercials.
Okay, well, one
I
way or
don't.
another.
I pay them, and it's worth it. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest. For as
Oh,
much as I
thank
use
you.
it.
Thank you. I'm going to fist bump
And
you.
for as much as I use it, yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God. It's the
goodness.
best. It's better that I gave up Netflix. I would rather have YouTube where I don't have commercials. It's amazing.
Okay. Well,
And
one
it
way or
saves
another.
all your shit, other shit you want to watch. It's like,
One way or another. So I listen to this on YouTube. So that's the thing. Like I'm sitting there listening, and I'm at work, and I'm realizing, when you listen to on YouTube for the entire album, like it'll just show like the cover of the album for almost all the songs, and then when it gets to the video song, it'll show the video to that song, and it's like, hey, all right. And this one, I'm sitting there like, it's going on one monitor, and I'm like working on the other monitor, and I'm realizing like everything keeps video after video. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? But Crown of Barbed Wire. Holy crap, is that video horrible?
Oh, is that the one that's just like
seen it?
It looks like Yard's Revenge or something?
Yeah.
We're getting tracks. Okay. We're talking about videos still. Good. All right.
Okay.
No, not tracks.
Yeah, I haven't.
All right.
I
I mean some of these videos were really cool, and there's like one guy named Tristan, like apparently did the art for like 2 or 3 of them. You know, that he was always in the comments, like on YouTube. Hey, I did, and it's just like some of that stuff looks really cool, especially like making these guys look all tough, and considering they're like 65.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I
cool,
saw.
Well, I was just gonna say it's cool that he has that perspective because I don't know if you and Tim probably watched all the videos too, but.
So here's the thing. When this was released, they did a theatrical release where you could go to the movie theater and listen to it the night before it came out. And it's, obviously if you're in a movie theater, you're not just listening. There's videos that go along with it. And it was cool because the band came on before each song, and they kind of did an introductory, like, here's what the song's about, here's where we were, blah, blah, blah. But those videos they showed in the theater are not the same videos that are on YouTube.
Oh, shit. Did you go with Chris?
No, I went with my buddy Tyler, who's
okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big Metallica fan, but yeah. No, I saw the Texas Stadium concert with Chris.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was interesting. I was like, wait, because I went back and watched some of these on YouTube. I was like, that's not what they showed in the theater. So I guess that was exclusive to theater people only or something. They weren't
interesting.
They weren't great. I mean, they weren't any better than what was on YouTube. But
well, I'd imagine if you're Metallica, you're just like you're basically like a county trying to erect some sort of government building. You're like, give me your proposal. You're the artist, and all right, do whatever. Here you go.
I will say, considering
here's $150,000. Go do whatever you want.
Considering videos. Let's face it. There isn't a reason to create videos much at all anymore.
Really not.
No, not anymore. MTV doesn't even play videos anymore.
Exactly.
YouTube. I think is YouTube.
But YouTube is a big.
That's probably the MTV of
biggest
nowadays,
platform.
right?
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. And it's not related, but just speaking of videos, if anyone here has not yet seen Through the Never, I highly recommend it.
So good.
It is fantastic.
Through the Never.
Talk about video.
There's a live.
It's a movie that they did, Through the Never.
What, the Montreal thing?
No, so it's actually, I don't know if you think of Quebec Magnetic, but no, Through the Never is a legitimate, Through the Never is a legitimate movie that they made. And it's a concert, but it's a story interwoven into a concert. It's amazing.
No, that's what I'm thinking of. I thought that was in Quebec for some reason. Where they have like guys getting out of the van and
yeah. The sound on that is absolutely amazing.
Oh no, that's amazing. Yeah.
Sorry, side note.
Keith is the one who needs to watch that.
Yes, for sure.
All right. I mean, that's the one thing I'd say after like let's face it. When I'm preparing for this podcast, I'm normally at work doing work bullshit, and I've got music going on either in my iPod or in this case on YouTube on my other screen. iPod. I would like to or iPhone. Sorry,
iPhone. I was gonna say you're still rocking the iPod.
Hey,
good for you, man.
Well, there's an iPod in your iPhone.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my God! You have the 72 pin connector or whatever it was.
Yeah. Wow. That's the old school.
Wow, that holds like 5 albums. Great.
I was so pissed off at the original iPhone because this thing fits everything I fucking had, and the iPhone, I get an iPhone, and it. You can't put the entirety of everything you have on it. Who cares? That is completely unrelated to Metallica. The big point I wanted to make, and I think Fern is kind of emulating this as well, like, people should go check that shit out. If you bought the album and haven't seen those videos, they're cool enough to give it a little.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't know that.
Yeah, hop on YouTube and check them out. It'd be some of them specifically Crown of Barbed Wire, fucking so
That's a shame.
But you know, some of them are pretty cool.
It feels like a dagger. Because no, we're not in the tracks, but that's one of my
Really on this
favorites.
album.
Oh, really?
my God,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
You say it's one of your
Right.
favorites or not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very Sabbathy.
Okay. Oh, this will be fun then. We get into the tracks.
All right, yeah.
Well,
I
well,
think- I
should
think-
we? I mean, should
Oh,
we do that? Are we at that
oh.
point yet? Or
I think we are.
Well,
I
so
mean,
did we?
production-
oh,
sorry,
the production. Yeah, that's
We should just
Yes.
mention like Greg
We could do that.
Fiddleman.
I mean,
Oh, we haven't
Yes.
talked about the album cover yet.
Well, it's gonna come up.
we did.
We did a little
Oh,
bit. The production's gonna come up constantly. I feel
yeah, of
like.
course.
But
But
We
it's
can't-
one of
we-
the best sounding
do-
Metallica.
do you want to
albums.
do
I'll
it
just put that out
overall? Like he does.
I
He's,
have one
he's chewing on a
complaint.
pecan.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to mute. But while we're on the topic of my only complaint here, I feel like Lars's hi hat could have come down a touch.
Yep.
What?
You're right. You're right.
His hi hat.
His hi-hats
Lars
are,
is
like
are too loud.
Overbearing? What?
Yes.
They're not over. They're
too
like
loud.
they're on the comfortable side of overbearing. So I feel like
It-
whatever they're at now, if the entire drum set's at 100%, bring the hi hats to maybe 95
Yeah.
or 90, so they still cut. But
Yeah.
there's some parts where it's just like,
Let me.
Well, like in a Murato, and it's like just that little, it kind of breaks down and it's slowing
Yeah, yeah,
down.
yeah.
And he's like just doing this.
Yeah.
You're like,
there's
dude.
almost no dynamic. It's just
Yeah, like just either don't do anything there at all. Maybe just tap your hi hat so it's just click, but he's like just banging away. And you're like,
Let me
"Lars,
throw this
come on,
out
man."
there for Lars, for you guys.
for Lars. If you're listening, Lars.
No, not for him. For you guys as interpreting people of Lars.
sure.
Do you feel like Lars, as a drummer, feels like a shark must consistently swim to stay alive? Do you think if Lars stops playing for more than one measure, he dies? Because that's
Mike.
how I feel about it.
Hey, Mike.
I personally love Lars as a drummer.
Yeah,
I'm not digging
but I
on the
will
guy,
say, no,
but
just
he
from
never
perspective.
fucking drops out ever, and he never doesn't beat the fuck out of the drum.
It's true.
I feel like the last, there are some songs where he does drop out, but I don't think it's in recent years. So yeah, it's an interesting point you make there. It's almost like it always has to have a part there somewhere. Well, maybe there's function to it. I don't know. But anyway,
he is the co-writer of every single fucking song. So
Yeah, he's
but
the,
you
he's
could-
the arranger
you
guy.
could
That's all
write
arrangement,
for
yeah.
the song though. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a minor complaint at the hi-hat thing. It's just something that I was like,
Yes.
that, and I think he's become predictable. And that's just me because I focused on his drumming so much
Well, I mean-
throughout the years that I knew what he was going to do in this album. I was like, he's going to do that drum fill right here. And he did it. And you're like, well, yeah, there
The
you go.
snare rolls. The snare rolls. That's like,
Uh,
I do wish that he did some other things besides just a long snare roll every now and then, where it's like,
And also just knowing where he'll do it. You're like, he's going to do a snare roll right here. And you're
Yeah.
like, there it is. Because he's got these little crutches he leans on, and it's fine. I'm over analyzing his playing, but
Well, the one big thing I'd say about this album also to note, and it's true, kind of, it's been going on, and I think I've already said this a few times, but, if you look at Anthrax's latest material, you look at, like, so many other bands that are putting stuff out that have been around for 40 years,
Mhm.
This is solid fucking material.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
sure.
like, it's
Sure.
like, it's really,
sure.
hey, I would say
That was-
not everything in the last 20 years was solid, but now that they're at this point, they're still making good shit, and it's fantastic.
God
to
damn
hear.
it, Keith.
you're not supposed to like this album.
No. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant at all.
No, I know
I'm
what
I'm
Joe
thinking
means.
how you bring up this point. Like Anthrax's drumming is as great as it has ever been.
Oh my god. Well, he's the
better.
he's the best metal drummer alive right now.
And
How is-
Lars is
how
breaking
is
Charlie
apart in
Benante?
front of
Yeah.
our eyes. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah, but
Hey,
Lars admittedly has never been a great drummer. He's
it's a time
I
out.
know.
Yeah, time out.
The strength
Look at
is-
Nirvana.
strength
Look
is
at Nirvana. All right, none of them were fantastic at their. None of them are the greatest musician ever.
I wouldn't
But they
say
could
that.
write.
Dave Grohl. He's better at any instrument in that band.
Nirvana's not a
Yes.
good example of how Grohl plays drums. Like listen to Queens of Stone Age or Them Crooked Vultures or something like that if you want to hear how or Probot. Like
Seriously, Kent Stax, my friend, better than Dave Grohl. Okay, better scream drummer. All right.
I'm not saying Grohl is the best drummer ever. I'm just saying Nirvana's not a good example of his drumming.
Well, one way or another.
To your point, go ahead. Sorry.
To my point, it's like as incredible of a band that was, they weren't, and so you know what, Lars can get sloppier or crappier as he gets old, as everyone should. I mean, look at Nico McBrain. I mean, I can't comprehend how he's gonna be able to be doing this much more.
Yeah.
But one way or another, he's still doing it, and he doesn't want to stop. I mean,
Get a fucking stroke and he's still doing it.
exactly. I mean,
here's the thing with Lars, and this is like the best Lars quote ever. He said, "I'm not the best drummer ever, but I'm the best drummer for James Hetfield's riffs." Something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Sure. And his strength, I think, is in his arrangements too, and that's not taking away of his ability. But he's a master arranger. He's excellent.
Can you imagine
his style of play is not
Yeah.
something that'll keep you playing for a long time. If you know what I mean. Like you're not gonna have a lot of finesse in your later years if you're playing the way he does. He beats the hell out of the drums. So there's a way to play drums to where you can play into your 60s because you have technique that's not, you're using more
Listen to jazz.
more fingers and but Lars uses his whole body. He's playing athletically, and it's not something that's going to give you a lot of longevity if you're going to want to play.
And he's
battery
chewing on
or
invisible
blackened.
gum all the time.
Yeah, like he's
I don't know what
when he
the fuck
plays
that
these
is.
songs live, he's having to skip stuff because he can't do it anymore. He can't do the
As opposed to Nico, who's more of a jazzish kind of player, right?
Yeah, you watch him play. He's not moving as
He's
much.
efficient.
Like, Lars is very
he's very efficient.
There's an
Economy of
efficiency.
movement.
Yeah, and
There's
Charlie's the
economy
same
of
way.
movement
Charlie's
for sure.
also he's efficient, and like Gene
Charlie
Hogan,
is
very efficient.
You watch Lars play like even back on Cliff Mall. You're like, this guy's going balls out and whatever, and then Charlie Benante can play the same thing, and he's just like
he's barely moving.
Yeah, he's barely moving. Yeah,
he's like, he's probably
but he can still
singing
do
something.
it.
Well, look at Danny Carey. Watch him play. He's the same way.
Yeah,
he's just kind of moving, like his arms are moving, and that's it.
because he's using
So-
proper technique. Whereas Lars taught himself, and he has technique that's not
good.
it's not even used to a long
Meg
career
White.
of-
Oh God, not that bad.
I mean, Lars is playing better now than he has for a little while. I think his tempo has improved. He's actually practicing now.
That might come with old age too.
I don't know if you heard that on the Metallica report, that podcast.
Oh, I did hear that. Yeah,
That's embarrassing. But
That James is like, oh, Lars is he's practicing now.
yeah.
Dude, I wonder if they.
40 years later.
Yeah, I wonder if they played it with Click because they're like always.
I don't-
years.
Not
If
live,
they
I don't
did, it
think.
might be just like
No?
certain parts of songs, but I don't think
songs.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like certain parts, maybe like the beginning of Fade to Black or something like that. Might have
Only because some
right
songs
part.
seem so controlled live that I wonder if
There's some of those songs they've played so many times, they're like a machine. Like they play Creeping Death, and it's like, I mean, that's just muscle memory. They're just doing it. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's something to be said just by playing in a band with other guys for a while.
There's some
you just know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we got 2.5 hours worth of tracks to get through, so we should probably get started on this.
Well, let me ask one quick thing because you guys probably know the answer to it. Looking at the Wikipedia page, the label that put this out is Blackened.
Blackened. Yeah, it's their own
So-
label.
Okay, so is this did they?
They started
How long-
that in what was that? Death Magnetic was the first one.
Yeah, after Death Magnetic, that was the last album. That
or
was
after
on,
Death Magnetic, I guess.
because Death Magnetic was on Warner Brothers.
Okay, that's
I
right.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
they had
weird.
a
It has
single
the Warner
album
Brothers
deal or
logo on the
something.
back.
Yeah,
Huh.
Yeah, I have that down.
Well,
And they just
good
started
for
their
Warner
own.
Brothers. They made a lot of money on that.
yeah. Yeah, but
just look. Sorry, if you're on YouTube, you can see the.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird. Yeah,
Super weird.
but I think
Bugs Bunny and
Clutch has
Metallica.
their own.
Oh
Clutch
yeah,
did the same
Weathermaker.
thing. Yeah.
Weathermaker. Well, I mean, let's face it. You look at this is hilarious that I'm bringing this up, but Taylor Swift, and which this is. I mean, I love what she did. she signed a record contract ages ago, and turns out the company was just like, whoa, well, you need to blah blah blah, and she's like, fuck you. So she re-recorded all of those albums.
Oh, is that the 89? That's what 1989 is? Okay.
So, yes.
Taylor's
Well,
version.
no. It's not. Yeah, that's 1989 is the most recent one she's done. She's done this with virtually all of her old albums.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that was released, and all of them say, Taylor's version. So she's re-recorded them. It's a brand new recording of the original stuff, but it's a new take on it.
And all the Swifties are going to buy it, of course.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm married to one, so
Yeah.
yeah. But one way, I've listened to a lot of Taylor Swift, and that's the one thing. Like, I'll respect her for that like little fu to the industry. And
Absolutely.
Taking, an artist taking control of their own brilliance and their own stuff. I mean, let's face it, Metallica has been kind of, fighting, kind of against the whole Napster thing, we mentioned, but, fighting to have, actually
We should
get,
We should talk about the Napster thing. Maybe when we come back.
Well, we'll get to the tracks. Shoot Me Again is all about Napster, so we can talk about when we get to that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, good. Okay. Yeah, we should. We should talk
Yeah, we
about
will.
that.
Well, one way or another, this Metallica has always been about like trying to actually have the actual artists make the money instead of the
I can't
goddamn
believe
industry.
is admitting this. This is
And,
fantastic.
Well, I would say, the problem with the music industry is the industry, not the musicians. So,
Yeah.
but one way or another, I can't believe I'm talking up Metallica and Taylor Swift.
I love
happened to me.
it. Keith.
I'm not punk rock anymore.
What's that you were drinking? Hey, there it is.
It's Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's cool.
Energy, aggression, power. To sum it up, it's a vulgar display of power.
Sometimes I think you drink just a little too much blood.
I'm sorry, I'm going to PA. Bloodaholics Anonymous.
Cut out. Cutting it up big time.
They are miserable slaves of Satan.
Some cunt's recording this.
You have been in the presence of evil.
You